I love the how you capture your performance in both live action and animation. How is that for you? How do you get into that mindset in a different medium, and do you treat it differently at all?
Well, this one was especially important and special because it's been my lifelong dream ever since I was a little kid to be in a Star Wars project and to finally have it happen and to be given such a cool character. I didn't want to mess it up. So for me, first I took the inspiration from Fennec's name and I looked up what a Fennec, I didn't realize that there was like this thing called a Fennec fox. And then when I put on the costume for the first time, it just everything started falling into place about who she was. I love the orange, and there's orange in the Fennec fox, so I went further with it. And Fennec foxes have big ears, and they're very cunning, and they're listening all the time, and they're stealth and loners. So I took the essence of all that and created this character. Had ideas about the hairdo, and Maria was so great, Sedoval, in helping me to make it happen, because I wanted the Fennec fox to have a tail. It's just like, it was all just figuring out her speech, how she talked, all those things about who she was. I had the best time creating her.
So then when you take that into a voiceover for the Bad Batch, is
Yeah.
it harder without the, are you saying, the costume and all of the practical stuff, or how was it for you?
Well, that was the great thing, right? Because my character went from being a live action where I was able to create it. And then now I only have to think about her as a younger character and who that younger character is. So I just pitched it up a little bit, not too much, because she has such a distinctive sound. And I for me, it's just her rhythm when she speaks. Sometimes she drags out words a little bit. Sometimes it's very purposeful. Everything that she says has a purpose to it, and then when she goes into like these characters, because she's a great bounty hunter, she knows how to lure and like when she was getting Omega's trust, she changes her energy just a little bit. She becomes more nurturing. She's very chameleon in that way.
Seeing as we haven't seen the last of Fennec in the live action, how do you connect what we are seeing in the Bad Batch to what we see later? Do you try to connect the dots in your head? Do they tell you the road that your character is taking, or how do you?
A little bit of both. We go into a lot of discussions about the character and the motivations for any scenes. And that's what's so great about Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and Robert Rodriguez. We are extremely collaborative, and they're so supportive in listening to my ideas and incorporating them, if it's appropriate, and if we disagree about something, we talk it out. It's so wonderful to work with people who just genuinely want to tell the best story in the most honest way possible. And that's what they are. They're great collaborators.
Have you changed anything in how you approach Fennec in the Book of Boba Fett based on how you did her in the Bad Batch?
Yeah, I think one of the things I could give away is that, Fennec has always been a loner, and she's always she didn't want to need anyone. And I think when she was taken by surprise, when Toro Callahan killed her, not really, injured her badly, like anyone, for me, I feel like there's a sense of vulnerability now. And what can she do to better her odds and chances of staying alive? And so her decision to now partner up with Boba Fett, not just so much because of the honor system, which is there. She does have a code of honor and ethics, which I love. It's also, not about paying back a debt. It's also about, okay, this might be my next, my next adventure. is to partner up with someone.
Based on where we see Fennec again now in the newest episode of the Bad Batch, where do you think her head is at? What is she thinking when like all of this, like she's getting trapped sort of in a web that's way bigger than what she thought of in the beginning?
Well, I mean, I can't answer that. Wait. You tried to trap me into a stuff that I'm not supposed to say. Almost. You almost got me, Raphael. Well, I mean, all I can say is, you know, she's smart. She'll, you know, whatever situation she gets herself, especially because she is younger and more reckless and more ruthless in some ways, you know, and more ambitious. It's, you know, she's learning. Every experience that she's had up until that point will either help her through it, and we know she survives because she shows up 20 some years later. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see how quickly she learns and how she adapts.
Have you finished recording the Gremlins animated series, and is there anything you can tease about that project?
Gremlins, we're still in process of working on it. Yes. It's
what
good.
is it that you love about that franchise that made you want to join?
Because I love the Gremlins. You know, I mean, I loved all those types of movies growing up, and they're classics. I just watched it again with my kids because they'd never seen it, and I'd forgotten how crazy that movie was. I mean, you know, when they put the gremlin in the blender, I was like, damn, or in the microwave. I was like, dang, you know, there was some viciousness going on there. But you know, it's great. It's fantastic classical projects, and it's stuff that I grew up with. And so now to have a chance to be a part of my childhood, like who doesn't want that?
Going into Book of Boba Fett and the future of the Mandalorian, what is one thing that you really hope to see, or that you really like about where the story is going?
Well, first of all, I get to work with Temuera, who I absolutely adore. He's just the most charming, talented, funny guy. And yet I love our dynamics because he's very serious in certain ways, and I'm the geek and the nerd, and whenever I get on set I go crazy for 5 minutes, like looking at everything, touching everything, asking the crew or the props people about this or that, or you know, wanting to steal things off the set. I'm just like ah! And then Tem's always the one that's like, Ming, let's work, you know. So I love getting a chance to work with him, and Robert Rodriguez too. I mean, such a huge fan. If I was a fan of his before, I'm even a bigger fan now. And then of course John and Dave. You know, it's about that. It's being surrounded by really amazing, talented people, and getting to just be in more Star Wars things. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ming. Pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure talking to you too.